Good morning, bookers, and welcome to What the Book. This is Cintra Sullivan, international best-selling author from Australia, or so they tell me, and you are now in my grasp, in my tiny little skinny fingers for the next hour. I will not let you leave. Settle down, grab a cup of coffee or a boozy refresher if you're in the PM section of the world, and settle down for a great 1 hour. We have some interesting developments today, so this should be fun. You're going to have to excuse a little bit of, let's say, a little bit of juggling because, you know, we have newbies and that makes things just a little bit more tricky, but we get there. We get smoother as we get going. I keep on saying we'll get smoother. It's like 4 years down the track and I'm still here going, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And yet, here we are. Good morning, sir, in the room. I always love having our people around. Now, okay, before I introduce anybody, I have a query, and this leads in, follow me with this, bookers, follow me. This leads into our new host, because did you know, I'm not even sure she knows this, but did you know 1 year ago today, this exact day, 1 year ago, we had this incredible author grace us on What the Book and was a guest, and of course her name was the delightful Peyton Storm. Now, here we quantum leap forward 1 year, and now we get to introduce her as our new co-host for What the Book. Good morning, Peyton.
Hello. There's no way it's been a year.
A year exactly today. How cool is that? Thank you, Facebook memories. Sorry, that's the only reason I remembered. 1 year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And for the bookers playing at home, Peyton Storm is our new co-host. You've got MB Davis, you've got myself, and now Peyton Storm has stepped into Kaya's seat and now is in our clutches. We can't let her go either.
I'm not going anywhere. That requires going outside. That requires, engaging with other people. And so I adore you. I adore Mark. And as much as I'll miss her, I'm happy to be here with you guys.
I don't like to people too much outside. I had to people outside yesterday and it was very uncomfortable. You know.
No, I don't recommend it.
And I went down into the city. It was my daughter's birthday, and I went down into the city. And it's funny because I don't live in the city. I live, quite rural. And they're just so busy. Everybody's such in a rush. And I'm like, God damn, it's like, whew, take a breath, people. There's nothing that's urgent. There's nothing that urgent. Let's just, it's weird. It is very weird.
Yeah, it is.
So how are you feeling, Peyton? A little nervous, a little excited? Where are we going?
It's been a bit of a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not really nervous. If anything, I'm afraid of all the throat clearing because my allergies are raging today. They're so bad, and I take my medication and all that stuff, but I don't know. I guess the pollen's really high or something, so you'll hear a bunch of throughout the whole thing, so I apologize in advance.
Oh, unless they're uncomfortable, because I'll probably do that to you at some point too. Unless I get one uncomfortable.
Code.
Yeah, there you go.
Use it for code to tell me to rein it in.
I have. I would never do that. I would never do it. It'll be amp it up, Peyton, amp it up. Now, I have seen some phenomenal footage sometimes of the pollen down south where entire trees just seem like they shake, and the amount of pollen that flies off them is just mind-blowing.
Right. It's bad, especially, in my area, I'm close to the coast, and I don't know, I guess that just makes everything worse. And so when the pollen is really high in the area, if your vehicle isn't parked in a, underneath in a garage or what have you, it's coated in yellow. It's just powdered, dusty yellow all over your vehicle.
Wow.
And it's hard. It's gross. It's miserable, but coastal living.
Oh I see. It's funny. Well, you're down south, so you don't often get as okay. I'm Australian. What I know about America is in Hollywood, so You have to educate me. And now I've lost my Aussie buddy. I'm like outnumbered now. I have the two Texans and me.
Right.
But down that way you don't get, I know you did have the big snowstorm, not last year, the year before. No, was it last year? But you don't often get that cold though, do you?
No, it's very, very infrequent. I mean, I wish we got it more. The actual snowfall, hardly see that at all, but we will have the occasional freeze that, people who live this far south, we're not always prepared for that. So like my cold versus a normal person's cold isn't going to match up. So,
right.
But yeah, we have our biggest threat right here in this area is hurricanes. So
yes.
out for some snow.
We get the we call them cyclones, but that's what we get up where I am. I don't get in. We've got a polar surge happening on the weekend, a polar surge. And I went, oh my God, yes, please. And, so our polar surge.
Wait, what is that? Is that like a cold front?
Yeah. I'm going to get the temp conversion so that I can, your Celsius to Fahrenheit, radio people, we can do this. So yeah, our polar surge is going to be somewhere like at the coldest. For me, it's going to be around 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Oof.
See, I love that.
I'm going to be like, my God.
I love that because, I mean, we'll have occasional, but I mean, this time of year, I mean, we're living like bacon down here, so it's just going to be really hot from this point until like Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I know all about the hot stuff. We have a very similar summers, I do believe. Hot and shitty.
Probably.
But,
Well, I mean, like right now, my humidity is an issue. Like right now, if I look at my phone, it says it's 86 degrees, but the feels like temperature is actually like 95. So that's the
nasty
issue there. Like it doesn't feel what it says, that humidity kicks it in a notch. So yeah, it's fun times.
Okay, so what's happening with the boys? Hi, Theo. Hey, whoever, Brian. Hey, darlings. Your voice is lower. Her voice is lower. Peyton's is lower. Do we need to adjust something?
How about that?
We need to adjust something. So if there's a way that you can, like, get closer to your mic, maybe, I don't know. As I said at the start, we're going to be, bear with us. We'll get there. We adjust stuff as we go.
Right.
And
Is it better now?
The boys will tell you if it gets better. It gets better. I love them. They're so gorgeous.
Let's see. I'm looking.
It says not.
Oh, I think I have it up as high as I can get. Not yet.
Not yet, no. All right, the guests, while we're sorting that out a little bit, the guest that we have coming in today, if I can get him in, because I'm also having a little technical difficulties there, but we'll get there. Peyton, pretend you're angry. All right, go on, Peyton, pretend you're angry.
Okay, see, be careful what you wish for. Hold on. See, I don't know. It's not.
Pretend.
Right? Yeah. Pretend. I know. It's like, be careful what you wish for. I am looking, and I'm not seeing an option to.
Because I can hear you fine. Is it maybe me? Am I too loud?
Well, I hear you perfectly fine. So I don't.
So maybe it's there. Maybe you got to turn up your mics, boys. Maybe that's it. Now, our guest today. Yeah. Let me try my other ear. You do that. If I can get him in there. No, we'll see. Hang on. Our guest today is a best-selling author. I'm really excited to talk to him. I haven't spoken to him before. And for those who like fantasy writing, this is certainly one that will tickle your fancy. I think Atlantis and Drowned Kingdoms. Well, the first book is The Drowned Kingdom. The second book is The Last of the Atlanteans. I'm really excited to take a dive under the ocean, I guess, really. Do you like fantasy, Peyton?
I do. It's been a long time, though. It has really been a long time, but I did take a peek at his Twitter page, and I have questions.
Oh, good.
That, yeah, I have questions about his pin tweet. I need to know the background of that image.
Which image? The Queen? Which one?
Yes.
Ah, yes.
Gorgeous, like at the very top.
Isn't she stunning?
I was like, Halloween costume for me. I'm joking. I could not. But yes, it's gorgeous.
It is, yeah.
Image, yeah.
And that's an image. I'm not sure if that's I'm not sure. We'll have to ask me if that's the cover or if that's just an image of the Queen. But Lord and King, Book 3 in the Drowned Kingdom Saga, coming 2023, which is certainly something that will be exciting to see. If I can get him in here, that's my question. If I can get him in here. And, look. Oh, I see his name. Press the call-in button and we can welcome P.L.STUART to What the Book. Good morning. Do I have you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yay. Oh, I throw my hands up in success. Good morning, P.L.STUART. Welcome to What the Book.
Good morning to you too, everyone. I apologize. I am extremely technically incompetent, so I accept full responsibility for the delay. So my apologies.
No, never. It's one of the things that having done What the Book now for 4 years, and we've been doing live for probably a good 2 of those years. I've learnt how to just go with the flow. Our gorgeous new co-host Peyton Storm is here today. This is her first show, so she gets to pop her cherry with you, P.L.STUART.
Well, I'm honored. Congratulations, Peyton. That's fantastic. And
hi, how are you?
How are you? I can't hear you that well. I apologize. That may be me as well.
No, I think it's me. I really think it's me. So while you two are talking, I am playing with buttons, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, the boys are saying there's something up with your gear. So we'll be working that one out as we go anyway. We were actually just talking.
I can hear both of you perfectly.
I can hear you. You are a little on the quieter side, but we'll tinker as we go. As I said, we work live. I love live because it's so, there's nothing planned. I love it. I love the improv of having a live show. So, we learn to just.
You mean the absolute terror of it?
Yes.
Like just ad-libbing it?
Yes.
Just like winging it and yeah.
and having both you and Peyton have an awkward laugh when I mentioned cherry popping. Both of you have gone, oh my God, did she just say that? Yes, I
did. Listen, I watch your Twitter feed. I know you live for this. So
I do.
I expected it.
Oh, good. Welcome, Jamie, who's popped into the chat too. I love it when people pop in and say hello. You're all so gorgeous, and I love having the support of our crew there too. Now, P.L.STUART, fantasy. We were just discussing the Drowned Kingdom. Now, this is the Drowned Kingdom Saga, Book 1, A Drowned Kingdom, Book 2, The Last of the Atlanteans. And Peyton, did you want to say something about that picture?
Can you hear me any better?
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A little bit?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me much better?
Yeah, you go.
Yes.
Stephen, I see you in the chat. Yes, that me. Okay, great. So, yes, before you came on, I was talking to her about the image that you have pinned on your Twitter account. Who is that character?
That character will appear in Book 3 of the Drowned Kingdom Saga, and Book 3 will be entitled Lord and King. And that character is the Queen of realm called Anibia. So she's the queen of the Anib, and she's going to be someone who turns the entire series on its head. Let's put it that way.
The image is so powerful. If it just,
It is.
isn't it? It just, you look at it and you think, oh my God, I need to know her story. It's just so enticing.
Well, thank you. It is a stock image, so I just ripped it off the internet, so I'm not taking credit for, but it is a representation of what she would look like. I'm going to have perhaps a more original representation at some point, but for now, that I think captures the essence of the character: strong, powerful, beautiful, Black woman. So yeah,
This is fantastic.
that's her.
Now,
It's gorgeous.
you're from Toronto in Canada.
The Tita, that's right, the 6, Toronto, the big smoke.
Now, you also have, okay, because I'm trying to work out where your love of fantasy came from, and I'm reading that you have a degree in English specializing in medieval literature, which leads me to believe that you've had a passion for fantasy, medieval fantasy, for a long time.
I have ever since I'm getting up there now. I'm 53, so.
Oh, I wasn't meaning that you were old. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it that way,
That's
Tia.
okay. I'm old. I'm all good with it.
I didn't say that. I was.
I'm comfortable with it,
my
man.
God! Now I can have the uncomfortable chit chat.
Believe me, I don't want to be 20 again. I don't want to be 30. I'm quite comfortable with my age. But yeah, I have had a love of fantasy for as long as I can remember. My desire to write fantasy, that's certainly, it was buried really deep. I purposely buried it deep for a variety of reasons. And then I got to a point in my life where, I was in the right headspace. I had the time, I had spent a lot of time raising a young family and working and career-oriented stuff. And then, you get to a point where, I'm expecting my first 2 grandchildren this year. And, thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And, my wife and I were empty nesters, we have 7 kids.
7?
The youngest is,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh,
God.
Yeah, we were busy.
Oh my God. You would feel the nest would be very empty after having had 7 of them roaming around, to not have any in there. Oh, the silence would be deafening.
Well, they weren't all together. Again, it's 7 between the 2 of us. I have 4 and my wife has 3. We all consider them ours, but you know what I mean? This my 3rd marriage,
right.
so, and hers too.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the youngest is off to university in the fall, and the rest are all, my oldest is, 32. So, this is no time like now to, have all the time in the world to write. So, that's why I got started recently and, started writing what's, now on book 2, coming up to book 3 of a 7-book saga. So.
Oh, you're in 7-book saga. Now, this is intriguing. The whole thing's intriguing. But when I started writing, my first tackle was a 7-book series. And people said to me, oh my God, you are the most single stupid person on the planet to start because I was a late bloomer into the writing industry. And I'm not gonna dog on those who start writing early. More power to you. But on a personal level, I would not have had the ability to form a book any younger than I did. I needed that life experience. I needed that age under my belt in order to develop or be able to develop the characters that I had. More power to those who get it younger. Loving the way you work. Do not send me hate mail. I don't want it. But personally, I needed to be older in order to do this. Now, when I started and people said to me, oh, you're writing your first book. And I'm like, no, I'm writing a 7-book series. This is just book 1. And they've gone, what the hell? Did people say that to you, PL?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when I elaborate and explain to them that while this is a 7-book series, I have a total of 20 books planned in the universe,
Jesus.
in other words, including 2 prequel series to follow this. So basically, this first 7-book series, 2 separate prequel trilogies to follow. So that's 6 books. And then another 7 books to kind of finish off where I started. So, I'm part of you can sign me up for the Crazy Club. I'm there with you, Decintra. So, I'm, again, 53, no time to waste. God willing, I live a, decently long life. That would take by writing, if I can nominally produce about a book a year, well into my 70s. So, yeah. You can call me as crazy as you like. I accept it.
Look, it's just like looking at a mirror image of myself. PL, we're good.
Okay.
I'm such an underachiever.
Yeah, step up, Peyton. Come on, what the hell?
My God. Jeez. I have some catching up to do.
Oh no.
It's all about how you finish, not when you start. So
correct.
And I totally concur
Very
with
true. Very true.
Yep. Totally concur with Dezintra that, I think I hopefully at this age there is some small shred of additional maturity from when I was compared to when I was younger that I'd like to think I bring to my writing now, and being a published author in my 50s for the first time. So yeah.
Yeah, see, I couldn't have, I wrote my book after I turned 40, my first book. So I think under that, I didn't have the maturity in order to actually plan. What about you, Peyton?
Same. There's no way I could have done it. I mean, there's, many, many reasons for that, but I mean, I didn't start until after I turned 40, and, to be honest, I mean, I'm still looking for that maturity. So it's just, I mean, it is what it is with me. I mean, I'm excited to have gotten done what I have, but I'm in awe of people who can be that dedicated and that motivated to do it. It's amazing to me. I mean, the word saga is such a sexy word, but it's terrifying.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Like, I applaud you. I absolutely applaud you for that.
Oh, well, thing is, nothing you couldn't do, Peyton. I'm just, like I said, I'm crazy like a fox that way. And I decided, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to go full bore. And just the work lent itself to the length that I had planned. That's what it came down to, right? I didn't think a trilogy was going to capture what I want to get across to the reader. And that this character, my controversial protagonist, who's like an antagonist, he deserved 7 books. And I think the themes and the subject matter deserved 7 books. So, that's why I did it.
I love that. And okay, all right. But you use the word saga, and it is a very sexy word. I don't see it as a different word to series, though. Saga and series are exactly the same thing, are they not? Is there a line? Is there a difference? I'm going to have to Google this now. What is this?
Yeah, but saga.
Yeah, exactly. To me, when I hear saga,
series,
that to me, I mean, I don't know the definition between the two. I know for me, when I hear a series, it can be, 4+ books. But if you throw out the word saga to me, that's long haul. Like, I'm in at 7, 8, 9, 10 books.
Yeah, and
I'm curious to find what you see.
I'm looking this up. As nouns, all right, Google, all right. As nouns, the difference between saga and series is that saga is an Old Norse, an Icelandic prose narrative, especially one dealing with family or social histories and legends, while a series is a number of things that follow on one after another connected. Okay, so then would the word saga, it does sound longer, Tio. Does saga then lend itself to be more associated with the history, the historical fantasy, historical, you know what I mean? The more medieval factor, would the word saga lend itself better to that?
In my opinion, yes, because obviously I have elements of very ancient mythology kind of wound in with a more medieval type setting, and you have the backdrop, of course, of Atlantis, and that's from Plato, and that's quite ancient. And the links to history. There's a lot of lore in history that I make up essentially in my in my saga, but some of it is based very much on Plato's original tale of Atlantis. So it's a mishmash of things, and that's the beautiful thing about being a writer. You can make up whatever the hell you want. So, that's, it's all meshed together, right? So,
Because
my world has its own.
that was going to be a question of mine. I know Peyton said she's got a couple of questions. I'm going to throw to her in a second, but that if you're dealing with a subject that's known, that people can research, people can, Google up and question, because they do. We love them like that. They're just fantastic, those type of people. But, they're readers. That's great. How will you navigate through that, so you've taken parts that are factual and meshed in fantasy with it as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about Atlantis, technically none of it's factual because, there is no definitive proof that Atlantis ever existed. So what we have first we have Plato's tale, because he's the definitive authority. He wrote all of his writing about Atlantis as if it was real, as if it did exist. And then subsequent to that, throughout history, obviously people have, to varying degrees, believed in its existence, and there's no doubt thousands of people out there right now searching for Atlantis. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is fascinating, which I find fascinating. But so what I did is I took elements of Plato's tale and I tried to keep really canon to it, but yet set it in a completely different place. Time, era. It's not our world like all fantasy. It's alternate. It's an alternate world. So that's what I did with my book. So
I love it.
if you are a student of Plato's version of Atlantis, you will read my book and see things that was in there, but it's still a very different world, right? It feels much more, 8th, 9th, 10th century medieval, but it has elements of that era in which Plato described that Atlantis existed, which is thousands of years earlier. So that's what I did.
I love that. I love that. Peyton?
My question was, we've already kind of talked about how, you guys did the Brady Bunch thing, and now you're empty nesters and you're kind of attacking, that desire that you've had for a while to write fantasy. When it comes to this particular saga that you're working on right now, was this, how did this come to be? Was it the plot, or was it a character that kind of came to you and you took it from there? What was the first seed that kind of was planted to take you on this journey with this particular story?
No, that's a great question. It was kind of, I'd say, 3 seeds simultaneously. One was a desire to write a character that conveyed my struggles with some of the themes that permeate my book. And those themes include racism, sexism, homophobia, misogyny, religious intolerance, colonialism, things like that. So I wanted to write a character that I want to do something really interesting and maybe a bit out of the box. So myself as a racialized, marginalized black man, I want to write from the perspective of a bigoted white ruler. So that's what I did. So something you could probably never get away with traditional publishing. That's the reason why I'm self-publisher. But so yeah, so that's one aspect. The second aspect is again with this intro mentioned about my history background in school. I'm fascinated with the tale of Atlantis. I'm fascinated with history in general. From all history, ancient history, more modern history, and Atlantis fascinates me. And I wanted to write a big epic universe that at the center of it was my version of Atlantis. So that was part of it. And the third part was that I really wanted to write something that I felt would satisfy all the elements that fans were looking for. So something that had the lore and the world building, the epic battle scenes, but I'm a big character. Like I care a lot about, I'm a character driven reader and writer, and I wanted to create a
Yes.
character that, like, one of those lasting literary characters, you know what I mean? That hopefully, long after I'm gone, like, hundreds of years from now, someone will go, oh, you know what? That's a pretty decent character that author in that P.L. Stewart wrote, that was,
Right, right.
that's why I did that.
I love it.
So, okay.
Thank you.
And Peyton's new here, and the Peanut Gallery, who's going to be watching in the chat there, can for a minute. If you've got this many books planned out, so you've got your 7-book saga and all the spin-offs that are coming off it, and you said 20 books that you've sort of mapped out, then you're a plotter.
Yeah, that's a pretty astute observation. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm definitely a planner. I'm a planner for sure. I am a planner.
Okay,
I'm
but
not a
all right, but if
pantser.
you've planned, all right, now I have to nut this down a little bit, Pio. You have to sit with me for a second because, okay, like, welcome to my merry-go-round of thoughts. Now, I am a pantser, 100%. Sit down, know nothing before I type it, but I know the book. I know my character who's talking to me. I don't know what journey they're going to take me on. When I did the 7-book series, or I'm in the moment doing book 5 out of a 6-book series, which, fingers crossed, I should write the end today. Fingers crossed. Anyway.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Oh, I can't wait. But, like, I know the books. Okay, like I said, the one I'm doing at the moment is my Dragon Boys, and there's 5 brotherhoods. So I knew there was going to be 5 books because there was 5 brothers. But what their stories are, I don't know. So even though I knew that there was going to be X amount of books, I still didn't know what the story was going to do. So do you plot the story, PL? This is what I need to know. Do you plot the stories? I know, Peyton, you're coming next. I'm coming after you next.
Well, I pay homage to you, Dezintra. It's great. I love the spontaneity of people that don't. I'm a spontaneous in other things, but not with writing.
Right.
That's, I guess, one of my flaws. If I mean, a strength.
Not a flaw, never a flaw. It's wrong, but it's not a flaw. No, it's not.
But you're really gonna think that I belong in an asylum. But
right.
I mean, essentially, I plan out everything, every aspect. I know the titles of the books. I know the covers, what the covers will look like. I have all the characters, their arcs plotted out. I know. I mean, there isn't anything really left to chance. To be honest with you, in my books, in my planning my books, there are a little bit of wiggle room. Like there've been a couple of characters that. How sometimes the characters just take over. Like they were less prominent, and I gave them more prominent roles because they basically arm wrestled me to the ground and said, "You need to give me one." But for the most part, everything's pretty well set in stone. So, and for me, that gives me a sense of comfort and makes me, I think, write better and focus more on the writing rather than the plot. So if that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes absolute sense, and you are not wrong. You are perfect the way you are. So people do not send me hate mail. You wouldn't believe the shit I cop over that, I tell you. But it always amuses me. It always amuses me. And if MB Davis was here, he'd be going, "Oh my God, she's asking it again." Yes, I am. And Peyton, my gorgeous new co-host, I'll ask it just about every single one. Do you plot or pants? See, I have to know about you too.
Listen, most of the time, I mean, I choose chaos. I sit down and I'm like, what are we doing today? So I'm so in between, and it almost switches around on a daily basis. I mean, there are times where I will say, okay, I'm going to do like a very loose plot. Like this is this is how it's going to start. These are some things that's going to happen, and this is my finish. But as far as as detailed, as he was speaking, oh no. I'm just not wired that way. I've tried because, you have people who are, dead set on, you have to plot every single thing out because that's what real writers do. So
I got
I
told
set
that.
fire to that. And
Yeah,
then,
I got told that when I
I set
first
fire to that
started.
mentality.
Yeah.
Why do they do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. It was the same for me. But I mean, I just kind of sit down and, just let it go. I mean, as far as titles and characters, all of my titles and character names are, I like to play on words there. So that is planned out, but the character gets their name before the book gets its title because I need to let the character say their piece to really figure out how to title their book.
See, it's interesting though, and we've talked before on the podcast about getting advice, and I've had, when you're at school or at uni, or even if you go and take a creative writing course or whatever else, and they teach you how to structure out the story and, how to develop it up correctly, which, is great. If that's your style, more power to you. I love it. But if I try, oh God, and I have tried, but if I make even the slightest attempt to tell one of my characters what to do, Lord help me. It's just, they don't like it. They really don't. They just look at me and it's like, if you say one more word, we're just going to shut up and you're not going to finish this book. So, I tend to just surrender and go, well, what do you want us to do? And then they do something and I just have to ride along. The fifth book in this series that I'm writing at the moment is just insanely different to the other four. And I'm like, are you sure about this? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, really, really sure about this? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, oh, okay. As you do. Brian's asking, PL, for you. And I think that, we can all, I just answered that one for me, but, does the story, so if you're plotting it out to that degree, and I have this visual right now of, all these little Post-it notes all over the wall with strings attached to it and, mapping out on big whiteboards and stuff. That's my visual. Do they ever go where you didn't think they were going? Do they surprise you with a twist that you didn't see? And what do you do if they do?
That's a great question. And I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but unfortunately, it's all my crazy head. I do have some, like family trees and a chronology thing, but really, there's no mad sticky notes. It's in my crazy head. So, but anyways, yeah, to that question, there have been times more that, as I said before, the characters start to demand more agency. Like they start to demand that I want a bigger chunk of the story. I need more screen time. You know what I mean? Like it's like that spoiled Hollywood leading actor. It's like, listen, man, you know what I mean? I'm supposed to have, in a 90-minute film, I'm supposed to have, somewhere between 65 and 80 minutes. So, like that's how they talk to me in my head like that. And, there's times when I can allow that and it fits the story. I just have to tweak some other thing and maybe make some lesser characters take a back seat because, hey, the ones with the big salaries, they're the ones that get the, get the lion's share of the screen time. And there's times when, I go, nope, that's not going to work for me. And I fight them and I sometimes win. But, it's more about their agency and the impact they have in the story, how many lines they get, that it's more like in terms of the characters. Yeah, that's more when it's like, hey, I need my arc to be more emphasized here. And, okay, well, and sometimes they get it. So.
See, I, like the book that I'm writing at the moment is my 26th novel that I've written. And
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. Hats off to you.
But I learned, and this is just me, and this is the most beautiful thing about being a writer, and why I love doing What the Book so much, is that every one of us achieve exactly the same thing. We end up with a beautiful book at the end of it, but the journey that we take to get there is so uniquely different, and it fascinates me. It absolutely fascinates me. And even though I get on my soapbox about plotting and pantsing and whatever else, you know, I embrace everybody's uniqueness because it seriously fascinates me. Now, I could not fight them, honestly, PL. I like I can literally, because I'm about to finish this book and I have, Carr, who's my reaper, who he thinks his book is next. So he's present in my head at the moment and he's just like shaking his head going, don't even start. Just don't even start. I have no chance at all. And I learned in my particular style to just surrender. And I have no idea. And there's times that I've sat there and been completely lost in the story. Just like I have zero idea what we're doing or where we're going or who's even talking to me. And yet by the time I'm finished it, because I trust the characters, I've learnt to do that with my particular style. I trust the characters to know that what they're doing. And I get to that moment where it all makes sense. And I go, holy shit. Oh, I get it now. Oh yeah, I see where you're going. And so I find sometimes when I'm writing, I write like I'm a reader. That's what it feels like to me. I write like I'm the reader. What about you, Peyton?
Yes. There have been times where I think I know the direction that particular scene or chapter is going, and it just, things go sideways. And there are times where, you know, I'll finish a scene and I'm like, oh, well, didn't see that coming. You know, so I you know, the twist that my characters delivered to me, it does feel very like a reader experience. I'm glad it doesn't happen too much because I am a control freak, so I need to kind of have that control, but I also don't fight when the characters, you know, kind of take, you know, an exit when I'm expecting them to go straight. So it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. And, you know, like you said, I think I just love listening to other writers talk about, you know, their process and how they got to, you know, the end, because you can't find two identical stories. You just can't. And so that's why I love, you know, the podcast and the blogs and stuff. We're just reading, you know, how writer brains are so fascinating to me. And it doesn't matter what genre they write. It doesn't even have to be a genre that I typically read, but to hear them discuss their process, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to me. And I could just listen to it all day.
Yeah, because even...
I just wonder, like, writer...
Go on, PL.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on, PL.
No, I was just saying, like, writer brains, just wonder if they do an autopsy of writer brains, you cut open the head, do all these crazy, like, you know, crazy algorithms and things come popping out, or, you know what I mean? Because we are all so different, so unique, and I want to just get a point in. I always say that the beauty of being, especially an indie writer, is that I've thrown out all the rule books, most of them, that I've ever, you know, learned in school about writing, right? And when you're an indie, you can kind of do that to a point. And not that you can be tone deaf to criticism or beta readers. I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is all those things they say, oh, never end on a cliffhanger. Well, you're gonna do that. Never do this. Like, you know what I mean? You just you do what you, because you don't have a traditional publisher going, no, you can't do that. That won't sell our books. You know, so that's what I love about it. Anyway,
absolutely. No, you are 100% on the money. Absolutely. And, you know, it's people, you know, people who are so hooked on being trad published. And, you know, if you are, that's fine. don't send me hate mail. I don't know how many times I've said that already this time on this podcast, but, if that's your thing, you go for it and you pursue what you need to do to get the justification or validation that you need for your specific books. And it's funny though, because I have best-selling novels that have reached, top 10 in America and number 1 in other countries, but a trad publisher wouldn't touch it because they go, but that won't sell. And I could prove that it does, but they go, oh, no, that won't sell. And I'm going, but it does. And they go, no, it doesn't. Okay. Which is bizarre in itself. So, if you can, crossing those sorts of, and as you said, you can't be tone deaf to how a book needs to be. You cannot be tone deaf. Editing is very important. Your beta readers are important. If you have sensitive matter, your sensitive readers are very important. All this stuff is very important. If you want to compete with trad publishing as an indie author, you need to produce something of quality. I'm very passionate about that. If you want to compete, you must produce a quality item. Otherwise, it does not count. Being indie does not mean second class. It does not. It does not mean that we've skimped on anything. It doesn't mean that we're flipping it off. It doesn't do that. I produce exactly the same quality as a trad publisher would. I just do it myself, and all the profits come to me instead of them. That's all.
There you go.
Yeah.
But, I love being an indie. It's a very embracing freedom that you can have with your subject matters too. You can cross some lines that trad publishers won't touch, and you're like, I'm dancing that line. Yes.
I don't think a trad publisher would have touched, Hard Pressed. I don't think they would have, just because a couple of things that are in there that, I don't know, cross the line a little bit, kind of.
It's a fantastic book.
Oh, thank you so much. But if you think about it, there's a couple of things, that I don't think trad, publishers would have, because there's a little bit of, I don't know, gender reversal in some of the tropes, and so that can be tricky when it comes to traditional.
Okay, and they have
to read all your books.
They have very, very rigid. They're very rigid, and it's funny because if they actually looked at the world and the way the indie author community is, they would see that there's such a varied appetite that the readers have now. The indie authors have offered them something so unique and so different that the readers are just, consuming it in massive amounts. The trad publishers really need to step up and look at that and not just stick with their known facts. But, that's me. Meh.
Well,
but I think more people agree with you than they would care to admit.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. I mean, never have I seen such a committed group of people than people who read indie authors. I mean, the support that they provide their authors is amazing to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing to me. And I mean, and it's not a brag or anything, but when I get those emails or those DMs, people just dropping me a line, saying, okay, I'm reading this. And, they'll quote one of my lines from a book and they're like, oh, this cut me deep. Why did you do that? Just those little things that, I mean, it makes my day. It absolutely makes my day when this happens. And, so I personally wouldn't trade it, for the world. I mean, now money wise, that's a whole other thing. But as far as, the support that we get, I mean, it can't be touched. I mean, it's amazing.
It's a beautiful community.
Right. You're right. Yeah, I can't wait to read. I have to get both your books. Oh, well, you have more than one.
No, you don't. No.
To get them on my TBR. So
she has. I mean,
fascinating.
my
goodness. No, I have a couple. But meh.
Yeah, no, I got to check them out. But I told. she's being modest. But but you know what? It's interesting that Peyton brought up an excellent point. But as well, and hey, I'm not here to just like. Neither of you. I'm not here to bash traditional publishing. I never say never. Who knows if someone backed up a truckload of money to my door one day and said, "Hey, here's a 6-figure book deal for this." I mean, I don't know. I mean, but at the same time, I think the industry is really changing. If you look at what indie publishing was 15, 20 years ago and what it is now, I mean, it's But one of the things that I'd like to highlight that Peyton pulled the thread on so well was that, yes, we get those DMs, but you know what? We're accessible to those DMs.
Yes.
Because there's some great trad authors out there that are very engaging and they're very much, involved in, with their readership, but there's some that are somewhat inaccessible.
Yeah.
Right. And for us, like every single review, practically we read them. You know what I mean? Like every time someone says something good about our books, we're all over it. Or, it's a different level of engagement that I think indie authors have with their readership compared to trad authors. And of course, we are not separated. There's that divide with the publicist. It's kind of like, I compare it to, having a like a priest as your intercessory between you and God and taking your confession, right? Like indie authors, like we don't have the intercessory, it's us.
We're just going to talk directly. We're just going to go, hey God, how are you?
Yeah.
What you got? You know?
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
We're like, well, personally, but I'll speak on a number of the authors that I know. We're like little vampires for feedback. We will suck the shit out of a good feedback comment from someone because it fires you up. Honestly, those days, I should have probably used the word whore, but I used vampire because I was trying to be nice, But, those days when you're doubting, and we've all been there, you are doubting your words. You think, oh my God, I write like shit. This is horrible. I don't deserve to be calling myself a writer and blah, 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 blah. And we beat the crap out of ourselves. And then you get a message that says, oh my God, that character just did that. I can't believe it. I love this book. And suddenly, top of the world, I can do this. Bring on Netflix. I'm ready to go. Those sorts of comments feed us. So if you ever, don't ever fear the people who are listening. My bookers, my gorgeous people, don't ever fear contacting. Send them a little DM, send them a message, give them a review. We love it. We need it. Now, just quickly on something that you said about if somebody backed up a truck full of money to your, that you would consider, guess what though? It's not always, I've had it. I've had that offer. On one of my series. And, no, I turned it down. It was a couple of years ago. I turned it down because the cost to the characters' integrity was not worth the payment even though the payment was very decent, I was certainly, if that was what the driving force for my books were, that would certainly have been done. And it would lead to movies and the whole shebang that went with it. But the changes that they required for my character, which was my main character, I couldn't do. I simply could not do and keep the integrity of myself as the writer. So I turned it down, much to the disapproval of many people who heard that at the time, were just like, oh my God, sell it out. I'm like, I can't do it. So, even sometimes when somebody does give you the offer that you think is the dream offer, there is generally a price to it. So you have to weigh that stuff up when you get those sorts of things. Just that was a side note, as you do. Here I am. Now,
wow, kudos to you.
Oh, well, it's a hard thing to do to walk away, PL. It really is a very hard thing to do to walk away from that sort of dream. But, you focus on the fact that your time will come, and you just keep stepping towards it, one book at a time, one word at a time. Keep the bigger picture and you'll get where you want to get. That's generally my advice to myself and to anybody else,
So much admiration, so much props to you, so much respect to you.
Oh, thank you.
That I hope I have the integrity, the ethics, the 40.
Am I there? What did I lose? Oh, I've lost PL. Oh no, he's back.
Sorry. That was fun. Yeah, I hope that's what I am able to do. I'm not actively pursuing, I think after I finish this series, I'm going to reflect, take a step back, reassess, see what happens. But, at this juncture, I fully plan to self-publish the 7-book series and then, we'll come what way after that, right?
Absolutely.
But, again, is changing so much. It's evolving. I honestly believe that, you have players like Amazon, the game, who, I've said this on many times on many podcasts, Amazon sells most of the world's books.
Yep.
And for what would be the price of one of the three of us buying a car, in relative terms, they could buy traditional publishing.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
They just buy it. They're like,
Yeah.
Right.
other than antitrust laws in the U.S. to be like, you know what, we're just buying Simon & Schuster, we're buying every imprint, we're just buying it.
Yep.
That's it. It was done. We bought it. And then what? Right? And that's the big question. And then what? Will traditional publishing, if something like that drastically happened, would it exist the way it does today? Will there still be trad contracts? I have friends that have signed zero advance trad contracts.
Wow.
The industry is really changing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like right now, unless you're an established author or you have certain connections or you're an ex-president, movie star, whatever, you can wait for years.
Oopsie.
I have friends that have been querying to get an agent for years,
Yeah.
years and years, and I'll have
See, I don't
5
have that
books
kind of
published.
patience.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have 5 books published before they get an agent.
Yeah.
And you know what? In the long run, they may get that 6-figure deal, and but then besides that, though, as you both well know, getting the agent's only the first part. Then you have to get an agent to sell your book, and then you have to wait for that book to get published. And if that's the frustrating thing for me about trad publishing. Like, if we're all in a trad publishing house, hey, guess what? I'm a new author, blah blah. But and I just came aboard, blah blah. But if I'm not Peyton Storm or Dezintra, my book will have to wait. They're more important than me. So, guess what, Paul? You're in the queue, and you may wait 3 or 4 years to get your book out because, we have to get Peyton Dezintra's book out first because they're big names. And that stuff just, that would be tough to bear, right?
Absolutely. And I think I'm very, supportive, as Peyton was mentioning before about the writing community, together we're indestructible. We're completely indestructible as writers as long as we stick together and stop fighting with each other, which is nice because, sometimes when you're surfing the Twitter sphere, there's an awful lot of fighting going on. So I prefer to steer clear of the fighting and sticking with the supporting. I like the supporting side. It's nice. We lift each other up and we keep each other up there. And, by helping somebody else does not lessen your chance of being seen. It's something that a lot of people confuse, the fact that if they promote somebody else, they go, oh, but nobody will look at me. No, it doesn't really work like that. So, but,
no, it doesn't.
No, I concur. There's more than enough readers in the world and more enough
different
varied tastes and more enough genres for every writer to find their audience, right?
Absolutely.
And you're absolutely right. We do not succeed in this business not together. And I can tell you that I very much hold in high regard the people in the writer community who have helped me get to where I am, because I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for them. And it's you run into these people where, okay, you know what? I don't really know how to navigate this part of Amazon. Don't worry, I got your back. You know what? I'm looking for this cover designer, my cover. No, don't worry, I got your back. Like, we are truly, as you said, Sister, well said, that we're a force of nature if we stick together. And I honestly don't know if in the future, if trad publishing will be able to counter that.
I don't think they will. I think it's a dying section. Personally, I think it's dying. But that's just me. Even the big names are turning away from trad.
You're going to get emails now?
I will. Yeah, big names are turning away from trad. Huge $1 million book sale names are turning away from trad to do it themselves. So I think trad is a dying breed. I said it. Send me hate mail. Go on, send it to me.
But I'm with you. Hey, listen. Why does Brandon Sanderson need traditional publishing anymore? He can run a Kickstarter and raise $50 million and just say whatever. Why does he need a publisher anymore?
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like, you get to that point where that the encumbrance of a publisher for someone at that level may actually become restricted. People are going to still buy his books whether his books say Tor, Orbit, Gallnex. It doesn't matter. He's Brandon Sanderson, right?
Yeah.
So if you're Stephen King, you're Brandon Sanderson, you're whatever, you're N.K. Jemisin, you're Holly Black, you're whoever. Like, there will get to a point if you get big enough,
you've got your name.
Kind of get your name and you have your fans and you do what you want to do.
And you build your
So-
brand. Build your brand.
Yes.
Build your
Yes.
brand.
Yes.
And this is why I say that while I believe trade publishing is on its way out, I firmly believe you still need to produce something of quality. Indie does
Yes.
not mean
Yes.
lesser. It's something that really ticks me off when people assume that indie means lesser, and it doesn't. It's the same.
Right.
Now, quickly, I could talk to you both forever and a day, but we can't. At the end, Peyton, you know this game. Did we play it last time? Were you here?
Yes.
We did. All right. So I'm not sure if PL knows about our game at the end of the podcast, but you're about to find out. And any sort of
No.
respect that you may have had for me previous to this is probably going to be lost. But here we go. Here we go. We play a game. We play a game called Booker Feud. That's all the money that I have is on the music. I know. It's like Family Feud, but we call it Booker Feud because none of us want to get sued. I take an actual Family Feud question. 100 Americans have been surveyed. I have the top 5 answers and we play the game. We have, of course, both of you are in here at the moment. Normally I have Mark as well, so PL would choose a team. However, he's now a team by himself. So I have Team Peyton and Team PL. Now, the guys and gals in our studio often give up answers, so you can certainly pay attention to what they say. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. We will see how we go. Peyton, what would you like to call your team name for the first time? What would you like?
All right, I'm looking through. Somebody give me suggestions. I see some of my people. Where are you at? Give me some suggestions.
A team name for
Okay, I don't
Peyton.
see any suggestions. I'm just gonna go with Strohs. We're Strohs today.
Strohs?
I have a game. Yes, I have a baseball game to watch right after this.
Okay, all right, good. PL, what would you like your team name to be?
Okay, I was looking through I'm going to go with, in honor of the whole thing, I'll go with Team Play-Doh, right?
Play-Doh.
Team Play-Doh.
Yeah,
there's a PL in there too, so there you go.
Play-Doh. Yeah, they're very well done. Very well done. Excellent. I would have gone Team Atlantis too, but Team Play-Doh we can do. Excellent. Right. Okay. So I will ask a question. The first person in with their team name gets to go first, and we will alternate from team to team until we find today's winner of Booker Feud. All right. Are we ready to play?
Yes.
Yes.
Bring it on. Tough competition, but bring it on.
Ah, yes. All right. I love this game. This is such a fun game. I always sit there and think, oh, look, I'll choose something easy, and it never turns out to be easy. Right.
Never.
It's never. No. Which type of creature? See, I went fantasy. Which type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales? Which type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales? Come in with your team name to go first.
Strohs.
Ah, Peyton. All right, off the bat, let's go. Which type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales?
Wolf.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
It is number 1 on the list. Yay! Off the bat, Peyton. Number 1 on the list. Well done.
Thank you,
great
Brian.
All right, Team Play-Doh, PL. What type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales?
Peyton stole my thunder there, Cam, to go with. I'm going to have to go with. I don't think they're usually the villain, but I'm going to go with Raven.
Raven. As in the bird?
Yeah, as in the bird.
All right, is that your final answer?
Why not?
Not on the list, PL, not on the list.
Oh, man, not on the list.
No ravens on the list. No, all right.
Well, there you go.
Back to Team Strohs. Got it.
Strohs. Yeah.
Strohs. Peyton, which type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales?
I'm gonna say stepmother.
Oh. Is that your final answer?
I think so.
Yeah, not on the list. Not on the list. How does creature?
Listen, I don't know what
I mean,
kind.
creature. That's okay. All right.
They are creatures.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
hey, some people might say.
There's a lot of stepmoms out there going, what the hell? Send hate mail to Peyton, people. Peyton on that one, not me. Which type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales, PL?
I think it's more the hero, but I'm going to say lion.
Lion. Is that your final answer?
Yes, it is.
Papa, not on the list. See, I thought I'd choose a simple one, and this is not turning out simple. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. I'm striking out big time here.
Oh, goodness. All right, Peyton, come on. What type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales?
I'm going to say the witch.
Is that your final answer?
Usually a witch. Yes.
Which is on the list. Yes, it is. Number 4. It is number 4.
Nice.
So we have wolf and witch so far on the list.
Wolf and witch.
All right,
Something
PL.
with a W.
No, there's no more W's. No more W's on the list. What type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales?
I'm going to say dragon.
Is that your final answer?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the list, PL. Yes.
Hey, I thought to go to the board.
He's on the board.
I'm 1 for 10.
Dragon is on the list. It's number 3. It's number 3 on the list. So, so far we have wolf, dragon, and witch. Peyton, back to you. Type of creatures that are often the villain in fairy tales. We have 2 more to find.
Oh, okay, so Stephen.
Yeah, don't listen to him.
So I'm gonna. Oh.
Pick again.
Oh no. I'm gonna stick with him. I'm gonna say troll.
All right. Is that your final answer?
Yeah. Sure.
But not on the list. Not on the list.
That was a good. I would have said that. Wow.
Yeah, hurt feelings. I'm sorry, sir. Not really, but okay. It's an empty sorry. Did you feel the empty sorry going on there? All right, P.L.STUART. Now, you have a chance to even it up into a tiebreaker situation, PL. Tiebreaker situation. Which type of creature?
More suggestions.
Which type of creatures is often the villain in fairy tales?
I'm going to say, I don't know if it counts, like snake or serpent, like that.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
But not on the list. Not on the list.
Oh, man.
No.
Not on the list, like no biblical, like snake, serpent.
Well, no. See, the 2 answers that are left, one's specific and one is general, if that helps. Okay. One is specific and one is general. Which type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales, Peyton?
Type of creature.
I know these are tricky, aren't they? I love this game. It's good. Look, the support in the group. Come on, boys. You know better than this. Lots of answers.
Well, I keep thinking with fairy tales, I'm thinking like, children's stories.
Yep.
But now I don't even know.
Yeah. Think children's stories.
Okay. What about?
One is general and one is specific.
I'm old. I can't remember. Let's see. Frogs, toads.
Oh, that
one.
Need a better hint. Okay. Well, I can't until there's a tiebreaker situation, can I?
Let's see. Okay. Creatures.
Creatures. One's general and one is specific.
One is general, one is specific.
What type of creatures is often the villain in a fairy tale?
Okay, so I'm going to go with Tio's suggestion and say warlock.
Warlock. Is that your final answer?
Sure.
But not on the list. Nope. PL. All right. I'll give you a hint. Peyton, don't listen. TL, I'll give you a hint. I've just tuned Peyton out so she can't hear me. Nobody in the room can hear me right now.
Okay.
One of the hints, just between you and me, is that it might live under the bed. What type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales?
Lives under the who?
It might live under the bed. Don, I'm not telling you, Peyton. You're not supposed to be listening. Jesus.
Under the bed. Well, but that's the closet. No, that's the closet.
What lives under the bed?
What lives in the bed? But it's, you know what? I'm just saying the boogeyman.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
It's on the list. On the list.
Yay!
It's number 5. It's number 5. All right, so we have one more, and we have a tiebreaker situation. A tiebreaker situation, which I love. I love. So I can give a clue. First person in with their team name, Team Strohs, Team Plateau. First person in with their team name gets to go with the win, because I will give the clue that you can't miss this clue. What type of creature is often the villain in fairy tales? This particular creature, he is best known. He's one of my most favorite characters in fairy tales. A modern day fairy tale, I guess. Has a series out on TV in Disney. Oh no, what the other one is. He is
Strohs.
green. Peyton.
Wait, green?
Did
you say green?
I might have.
Okay. So I will say ogre.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
It's on the list.
Hey, congratulations.
It was Shrek. God, I love Shrek. He's so beautiful. He's so beautiful and cuddly. Well, he always likes to think he's a bad guy, doesn't he? He's a tough guy. He's gruff. He doesn't like to think he's very friendly. So he's a villain according to 100 Americans. No, there you go.
He's a villain? Shrek's a good guy. Well, I wouldn't have got that.
If you hadn't given that clue, I was going to say Satan.
Oh, you were going full haul bad guy. I like it. All right.
Well, because
I
thought you were talking about the Lucifer series.
Oh God.
Yes.
When you said you had a series, I was like, okay, we're talking about Lucifer.
Don't bring him into my podcast. Hello. Now I can't think straight. I need to adjust myself on the chair. All right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I love that series. That's a great series. All right. Well, congratulations, Peyton, on the win for the first time on the podcast. You get to boast to MB Davis next week when he comes on that you're already one up on the new list of win-loss ratio. So he's playing catch-up. Excellent.
I wasn't a fitting competitor.
You did
Peyton went to play with
great.
me. I wasn't up to the, but congratulations, Peyton.
Thank you for the suggestions in the comments.
I love the boys in there. They're lots of fun. All right, so bookers, we've come to the end of our show. I want to thank P.L.STUART for being here. Of course, that is the Drowned Kingdom Saga for those playing at home. Book 1, A Drowned Kingdom, which the cover is just so beautiful. And book 2, The Last of the Atlanteans. And again, the cover is gorgeous for those people who are Googling this as I am right now. Stalk him, P.L.STUART on Twitter. Stalk him in the most non-creepy way. He doesn't need to know he needs new milk. Stalk him nicely and buy his books. Send lots of good feedback. This is what we do. This is called nice stalking, people. Nice stalking. Thank you for being here, PL.
Thank you so much for having me, Peyton and Dizitra. This was amazing. It was a lot of fun, as I knew it would be. So, and I open invitation. I'm hoping to have both of you. I do a podcast with the wonderful Steve Talks Books on his channel called Page Chewing, where we interview creatives. So open invitation for you two to come on when you have time. I know you're busy, but maybe you can come on and join us there and chat about some other stuff.
That's the first time anybody's ever invited me to go on their podcast, ever.
Stop.
No way.
Nobody invites me to go anywhere.
What?
No. I know. I always feel very rejected from it. I'm just like, fine, nobody wants to talk to me. Well, I don't care.
No way. I'm sure you travel very well. So yeah, we got to have you two both
I
on.
would love to.
So,
it would be my honor. I'm sure Peyton would love it too.
Yes, that would be awesome. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I'll talk to Steve and we'll do some DMs and we'll set it up.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Sounds
PL,
good.
for being here. You have been a fabulous guest on What the Book.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Peyton, you did it. Number 1 down.
I did, and I wasn't drunk for it, so.
Neither was I. It's like
I know. Well, I mean, isn't it like 8 o'clock for you or something?
At the moment, it's just after 10. Yeah, it's just after 10 at the moment.
Okay.
So you're coming back next week?
I think I will.
Oh, good.
I think I will.
Because, I don't like having to hunt for new hosts all the time. I don't. I'm a creature of habit. I don't like change. So happy to have you here and on board, Peyton Storm. Absolutely adore
Thank you so much.
Book is, of course, for those playing in the chat and listening at home. We love you. We support you. Anything that we can do to help you, send us a DM. We'll do what we can. All right. We will see you all again next week. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Come check in with Peyton Storm, MB Davis, and myself, and a new guest. I have talked to him a couple of times. It should be a fun one. We will see you till next week. Until then, stay safe and write well. Love you all. Bye.
Have a great weekend.